This is WKYT This Morning.
Good morning. Welcome into you. I'm Rebecca Smith.
Hello there. I'm Bill Bryant, and we're so glad you're with us on WKYT as we start off this Wednesday. We're at hump day now. And now at 6 a.m., Lexington police are searching for two drivers following an overnight hit and run that has damaged a house.
The victim of a violent Lexington burglary continues her recovery this morning. She's speaking out about what happened to us.
Also this morning, a group opposed to the new Ark Encounter Park is warning school districts not to send students on field trips there. We'll explain that coming up.
Yeah, we have a couple of blips there on the radar early this morning. It's just a couple of showers passing on by. Nothing really to write home about, but just know that you will have that chance of rain as we go through the day. It's mainly dry, but you still have that 30 to 40% chance of rain. So we're going to talk about that, and then we're going to get into better chances on Thursday and Friday. That's coming up.
Here's the latest from WKYT News this morning. 3 men are accused of making threats against police in North Carolina, and we've learned that 2 of those men are from Kentucky.
Michelle Chamberlain is at our alert desk with details this morning. Good morning.
Good morning. That Kentucky connection is news we've just received this morning. Police in Bryson City, North Carolina say John Ward and his 2 nephews, Samuel and Houston Ward, were outside a bar Sunday morning when they saw a police car drive by. That's when police say 2 off-duty officers heard one of the men say, quote, "Let's kill us a cop." According to police, the men then ran toward the police department before being taken down by the off-duty officers. This morning, WFMY reports John Ward is the lieutenant colonel in the Kentucky Air National Guard. The CBS affiliate in Greensboro says jail records show Houston Ward is also from Louisville. Police in Bryson City say they did not find any weapons on the 3 men, and we're making phone calls this morning, and we'll keep you up to date on WKYT this morning and on our website, WKYT.com. Guys, back to you.
Michelle, thank you very much.
New this morning, Lexington police are looking for 2 drivers after a hit-and-run crash.
It happened about 1 o'clock this morning on Whitney Avenue off Georgetown Street. Police say one of the drivers crashed into a house before driving off. We're told the second driver also took off. And now WKYT's Mark Barber is live with more on the investigation into all of this. Mark?
Good morning, Bill. This hit-and-run crash happened 5 hours ago on Whitney Avenue. In all, 3 vehicles, 2 drivers, and 1 house were involved in this crash. Now, police say that the driver of a Chrysler 300 is to blame for this mess. That driver hit a van and spun off into a house around 1 o'clock this morning. The van then smashed into a 3rd car that was parked in a driveway. The driver of the Chrysler sped off, and the driver of the van also took off, leaving the van behind. Firefighters took a look at the house and they determined there is not any structural damage. However, the damage will be costly for the homeowner because the car knocked over a support column and it also damaged the concrete foundation. The driver that caused all of the damage was last seen speeding away on Georgetown Street. Police are asking anyone with any information about the crash to call them. Live in Lexington, Mark Barber, WKYT.
All right, Mark, thank you.
Funeral services are held today in Texas for the Dallas police officers killed in the line of duty.
President Obama was among those who eulogized the men at an interfaith memorial service yesterday while reassuring the country that racial divisions are not getting worse. The officers were gunned down last Thursday by former Army reservist Micah Johnson during a peaceful Black Lives Matter protest. New this morning, a Lexington woman is accused of leaving an infant in a hot car. A witness called police after finding the child wrapped in a blanket and 2 sleepers alone in a car outside Save-A-Lot in the Eastland Shopping Center. Police say that car belonged to Bessie Barton. She told police that she gave her friend a ride earlier in the day and that she didn't know that her friend's infant was left in the car. Barton is charged with wanton endangerment.
A Lexington woman hit by a SUV during a burglary is sharing her story with us. The incident happened early Saturday morning when Chessie and Brian Spangler's home on Sandersville Road was broken into. The Spanglers rushed outside to stop one of the burglars from stealing their car. Brian Spangler held one of the men at gunpoint, but moments later, a second suspect drove an SUV right at them, hitting Chessie. She tells us she remembers neighbors rushing to help her as she just was there on the ground bleeding.
And I think I even asked her, am I going to die? And she said, no, baby, you're not going to die. You're going to be just fine.
Chessie suffered 3 fractured vertebrae and a cut to her head. Police say the SUV used to hit her was stolen. The burglars are still out there on the loose.
A Mercer County woman is asking for help in finding 2 of her puppies. She says the dogs were stolen from her home in Harrodsburg sometime in the last few days. And now she wants them back, no questions asked. She even told us that she will not press charges.
Please, that's all I ask you. Bring my 2 puppies back. Because I never take nothing that don't belong to me. And I wish you wouldn't. And bring them back to me. Because them dogs are just like my kids now.
Harrodsburg police say the thieves may be a group of pre-teenage boys, and they're asking parents that if their children brought home a puppy, to make sure it was not one of the 2 that have been stolen. New this morning on WKYT, Lexington police say a prostitution sting has led to a woman being charged with human trafficking. Vanessa Gordon was arrested yesterday on Elkhorn Drive. The victim told police that Gordon arranged her meetups and the driver would meet the clients. When police arrested Gordon, they say she had the victim's ID, Social Security card, and more than $1,500.
The body of a missing Fort Campbell soldier has been found. The soldier disappeared Friday night when he was swept away by strong currents near the low water crossing of the Little West Fork Creek during severe weather. The military says his body was found less than a half mile from where he was last seen. The soldier's name has not yet been released.
A group opposed to the new Ark Encounter Park in northern Kentucky is warning hundreds of school districts not to send students on field trips there. The park in Grant County features a replica of Noah's Ark. The Freedom From Religion Foundation says school field trips to the park would violate the constitutional separation of church and state. The group says it sent warning letters to school districts in Kentucky and some neighboring states. Kentucky's education commissioner has told schools that neither outside groups nor state education leaders should dictate field trip selection.
Kentucky soft drink Ale 81 is celebrating its 90th anniversary today. In honor of the anniversary, the company will be hosting an ice cream social for its employees. The gift shop will also be selling limited edition posters featuring a timeline of the classic Ale 8 bottle. The gift shop will be bringing back a popular t-shirt from the 80s featuring a squirrel. Fans can buy both the Ale 8 gift shop on Winchester Road, Carroll Road, that is, on Winchester, in Winchester, and the company's website, if I can get it out there this morning. But that t-shirt does look cute, doesn't it?
It does, and they were fun.
I like it. A little throwback there. Rupp Arena opened in 1976, and it has been through many changes. Now more work is actually going on. Big Bertha made its exit earlier this year. Years ago, the blue chairs replaced the multicolored chair backs. Now the reddish-orange air ducts are being painted blue. Other amenities being added to Rupp include better Wi-Fi access for fans and changes to the roof infrastructure, so Rupp will be more attractive for other events as well.
Now, your zone-by-zone forecast with meteorologist Micah Harris.
Pretty widespread rain yesterday as it passed on through, and it was good rain, beneficial rain to the yard. Some of us not needing that rain, but some of us still needing it too. So you just got to keep in mind, even if you're down toward the Cumberland region, you say, look, I had plenty of rain the past couple of weeks and I don't need any more. Well, still some in the central zones and eastern zones still need that rain. So yesterday was beneficial rain to those yards. And today you won't see anything like that. However, see these little blips popping up, these little spikes coming up here on the radar? It's not much to it. You'll get a brief downpour, and it lasts maybe a minute or two, and it moves on by. Frenchburg about to get in on the action here in just about 3 to 5 minutes, and especially just north of that as you're traveling that 36 route off into Bath County. Now you look at another one heading towards Sandy Hook, heads up there in Elliott County. It's very brief. Here are your rain chances for today. The breakdown of it, this is what you really want to see. Down south, not a good chance of rain. Only very slight chance that I have there in the forecast. Across this section right through here, I'd say 64 northbound, there is a smaller chance of rain at about 40%. So it's not a great chance, but a passing shower or thunderstorm is possible. Not everybody will see rain today, as most of us today actually stay dry, but we just can't rule out a passing shower or storm anywhere from the Mountain Parkway northbound. Today's talkers, it's mostly dry. Still very steamy, though, as we're in the upper 80s to around 90 degrees. Eyeing that Thursday and Friday, because Thursday and Friday is when that front pushes on in, and that'll give us scattered showers and thunderstorms. And some of these storms we can't rule out to be strong and potentially a stray severe cell. However, no widespread severe weather expected, nothing like last week. And then we're watching those weekend trends, meaning where's it going? Where's this front pushing? Is it pushing through? Is it sticking around? Is it kind of lagging back behind? As of right now, I still expect it to push at least partially through, but that still leaves us with at least that chance of rain, guys, at 40% there for the weekend. We're still some days away. We'll be able to adjust that accordingly, but confidence is still right there, fairly low on whether that front pushes all the way through or not. So a lot of us got those plans going on.
When you're asking questions, we can tell.
Yeah. I mean, it's just one of those times. You got the fairs happening. Let's just hope that this pushes all the way through and it'll be good.
Yeah, the Lions Club Bluegrass Fair kicking off tomorrow. So it should be fun. Lots of county fairs and so forth. Micah, thank you so much. 6:10 right now.
Let's begin a look at traffic right now.
And let's go out to Officer Don and see what's happening out there on the roads. Probably a guy who has one of those squirrel L81 T-shirts from the 80s, huh?
Actually, mine's like a fishnet T-shirt. You know, the one that's it's a fishnet from here down. I'll wear it tomorrow if you guys really want to see it. It's not a problem. Hey, 75 north and southbound looks good so far this morning. No problems on the interstate, actually. Just check the exit ramp at 8th and Boonesboro. That stalled cars out of the way. And as we get a wide look at Lexington traffic flow, you can see things are moving without any major issues. Now, we had a little trouble inbound Tates Creek Road at the Circle. That was just cleared with both lanes now open there, just to give you the heads up. Live look, courtesy of the Lexington Fayette Urban County Government. Richmond Road and Mount Tabor looks good this morning with light traffic there. Don't forget the construction zone on Todd's Road, and they're going to be working on the inner and outer loops of the Circle between Versailles Road over to Leestown Road at times today as well. Now back to you in the studio.
All right, Don. Leave the fishnet at home. We'll be all right.
Wow.
Okay, it is 6:11 on WKYT this morning, and we are just getting started. We have a lot more to tell you about here on your Wednesday.
It's a changing of the guard in Britain today. After 6 years, David Cameron will be replaced by a new Prime Minister, Theresa May.
Good morning, now 6:15 on WKYT this morning. Glad you're along on this Wednesday. Funeral services began today in Texas for the Dallas police officers who were killed in the line of duty last week.
Yesterday, the president was among those who eulogized the men at an interfaith memorial service. Don Champion has the latest from Dallas.
As funerals for 3 of the 5 Dallas officers ambushed begin today, President Obama will meet with law enforcement and civil rights leaders to discuss ways to repair the bonds of trust. Tuesday, during a public memorial service, the president applauded the fallen officers for their bravery and sacrifice.
These men and their families shared a commitment to something larger than themselves.
The president then addressed fears gripping a nation caught in a bitter debate over policing after the killings of 2 black men. He made a plea for common ground.
Surely we should be able to hear the pain of Alton Sterling's family, just as we should hear the students and co-workers describe their affection for Philando Castile.
People without tickets to the Interfaith Memorial Service gathered around Dallas in a show of solidarity.
Over the last couple of days, I felt that the community has grown much stronger.
We have a lot of work to do, but it's not impossible.
Former President George W. Bush had a message for the officers' families.
Your loss is unfair. We cannot explain it. We can stand beside you and share your grief.
This moving image from the memorial service shows the daughter of one of the slain officers giving a bracelet to another, a symbol of their father's ultimate sacrifice. Don Champion, CBS News, Dallas.
3 suspects are in custody, and a search is on for a 4th possible suspect that police in Baton Rouge, Louisiana say were involved in a substantial and credible threat to harm police officers. The alleged plot was discovered after the burglary of a pawn shop where 8 handguns were taken. The suspects are 20, 17, and 13 years old. There have been protests in Baton Rouge since the police killing of a black man that was captured on cell phone video.
Bernie Sanders has formally endorsed former Democratic rival Hillary Clinton. The endorsement comes while the two are campaigning in New Hampshire. That was yesterday, just 2 weeks before the Democratic National Convention. At a rally in Indiana last night, Trump said Sanders' endorsement will actually help his campaign. He says a lot of Sanders supporters are so upset about the endorsement, they'll vote for him instead. Trump also says he's narrowed his list of vice presidential candidates down to 2 people. He's expected to announce his running mate this Friday. Britain welcomes a new prime minister today. David Cameron will step down after 6 years of service. He'll be handing the reins over to Home Secretary Theresa May, who was chosen as Conservative chief after her main opponent dropped out. Cameron announced his resignation after British voters decided to leave the European Union.
The time now 6:18 on WKYT this morning. Federal investigators want Tesla Motors to provide more details about its autopilot system. The inquiry comes after a deadly crash in May. One of its cars failed to detect a tractor-trailer that crossed its path. Tesla says the vehicle's cameras could not distinguish the white side of the tractor-trailer from the brightly lit sky. Some employees at J.P. Morgan Chase are getting a raise. CEO Jamie Dimon says 18,000 tellers, customer service employees, and other workers will see a little more in their paycheck over the next 2 years. He says the bank will raise its minimum pay from $10.15 an hour up to $16.50 an hour, depending on market conditions and locations of those branches. Well, Amazon's second annual Prime Day is wrapped. The top sellers, Amazon's Fire TV stick and a curved Samsung TV. So far, it appears sales were in line or beat last year's total. There were some early problems with customers who were buying Lightning deals, but no other major issues were reported. So it turns out pretty well there. Finally, Denny's is the latest chain to embrace America's appetite for fresh ingredients. The company will use fresh buttermilk and eggs in its pancake mix instead of pre-made powdered mix. Denny's says the pancakes will be 50% fluffier. How about that? A little breakfast, huh?
Hey, you know, pancakes don't sound too bad right now. WKYT this morning is just getting started. A toddler has gone viral for having the eye of the tiger. A look at his impressive Rocky training montage when we return.
There is a small chance of rain, but that humidity will continue to increase out ahead of our front that's going to be making its way through later on this work week. I'll get into that and I'll show you when the storms really appear into the forecast coming up next.
Welcome back. It's 6:23.
Bright and early here on your Wednesday, and we are glad you're with us today. We have a lot of news happening right now.
There's some stuff going on locally here. Lexington police still looking for drivers involved in an overnight hit-and-run crash.
Updating you on that, that's what's trending at this hour. It happened on Whitney Avenue off Georgetown Street. Police say a Chrysler 300 hit a car before crashing into a house. Witnesses then saw that car take off down Georgetown Street. Police say the driver of the second car also didn't stick around, but left the car behind.
Funeral services are today in Texas for the Dallas police officers who were killed in the line of duty. President Barack Obama was among those who eulogized the men at an interfaith memorial service yesterday while reassuring the country that racial divisions are not getting worse. That's what he said.
We had wave after wave of showers yesterday, but it sounds like today will be drier. Here's Micah.
Yeah, much drier than yesterday. However, we still can't rule out that chance of rain in the forecast. Smaller opportunity, but it's still there. Little hits, little bits and pieces here and there working their way eastbound. As you can see, one right now actually getting a thunderstorm just north of Frenchburg, and that's heading over toward northern portions of Morgan County. So heads out west of Liberty, more than likely you'll at least get clipped by this. But also another heavy downpour just south of Cynthiana at this moment. Heading east. Now, as we go through the day, remember, much of your rain actually comes now through about roughly noontime, give or take an hour or so. And it's not a great chance, but it's about a 30-40% chance. And so it's there, especially across central and northern zones. That's your best bet. Then we look back toward the afternoon. Get off toward 5 p.m. I don't see much of a chance, if any at all, of rain. During the late afternoon hours off into the evening, no problems as of right now. So things are looking more on the steamy conditions than the rainy conditions today. It's just hit and miss. Not everybody will see the rain, and most of us stay dry. Focus of the forecast is actually tomorrow and Friday, because that's when we start to see some storms move on in with this front. And guys, we could be talking about some strong storms too, and I'll have that coming up in your 7-day in just a few minutes.
Okay, several things to keep our eyes on, as usual.
Yeah.
The weather this summer, it's been that way, you know, things just keep coming along.
Yeah, it has, but it hasn't been too oppressively hot, I've thought, so that'd been nice.
For the most part.
Yeah, for the most part. Well, a diaper-clad toddler becoming a viral star for mimicking Rocky Balboa's iconic training moves.
Yeah, you have to look at this one. If you're getting ready this morning, turn around here for a second. He's not allowed to watch the fight scenes yet, but the hilarious video shows little Charlie in sync with Stallone, step for step, as he trains in Rocky 2. The video is already super popular online, was even retweeted by Stallone himself.
Oh.
And with enough training, you know, the toddler will soon be ready maybe to take on Apollo Creed, Mr. T, or in the case of Rocky IV, you remember single-handedly ending the Cold War. So we'll see what happens. But I'm telling you,
Cute.
the kid is trying to get in shape for something.
That is adorable.
No doubt about
Love
it.
that.
It's a lot of fun. And it's good to have you along with us on WKYT this morning. Maybe you're doing your morning calisthenics or
You're
on the
better than me.
treadmill.
Yeah.
Buzz Baker, usually on the treadmill
You
right
go.
now.
You go.
Hit it, Buzz. Put some resistance on there. Keep it here on WKYT.
A company with several Kentucky locations plans to lay off dozens of workers. What that's all about coming up at 6:30.
Also this morning, tonight's Powerball jackpot, $311 million. Friday night's Mega Millions jackpot is $20 million. Our top stories coming up on WKYT.